History's strange, it's alien, and it won't give us what we would like to have.
Christmas Eve, 1944. The English Channel is dark, cold, and indifferent. A Belgian troopship, the SS Léopoldville, pushes toward the French coast, carrying American soldiers who believe they are minutes from safety. The title sounds poetic, almost gentle. Silent Night. Deadly Night. But this is not a story about weather or fate. It is the anatomy of a forgotten tragedy. The Leopoldville is just 5.5 miles from Cherbourg, within sight of the harbor, within reach of rescue. Yet nearly 800 American soldiers will die. 493 bodies will never be recovered, and the truth will remain buried for half a blind century. The torpedo was only the catalyst. What followed was a perfect storm of human and systemic failure. The mission was compromised before it ever began. Troops were loaded hastily at Southampton, separating officers from their men. The ship was overcrowded. There were no safety drills, no instruction on life-saving equipment, and there was a critical language barrier. Orders were given in Flemish to American soldiers who could not understand them. The stage for chaos was already set. At 5:54 p.m., German submarine U-486 strikes. The torpedo hits the starboard side aft. About 300 men are killed instantly. Captain Charles Limbour drops anchor to avoid drifting into a minefield, immobilizing the ship. Then comes the fatal order. Abandon ship, given only in Flemish. The trained Belgian crew understands. The American soldiers do not. Rescue was close, but lost in translation. British ships and the American-run port of Cherbourg used different radio frequencies and incompatible codes. Messages had to be relayed through England by telephone. Visual signals were missed. Nearly an hour was lost. It was Christmas Eve. Engines were cold. Crews were ashore. No one wanted to disturb the holiday unless absolutely necessary. There was heroism in the darkness. The destroyer HMS Brilliant pulled alongside the sinking troopship. Across 8 to 12-foot swells, about 500 men were saved, but the transfer was deadly. Soldiers jumped 30 to 40 feet. Some broke limbs. Others were crushed between grinding hulls. Courage could not overcome chaos. Slide 7. The final failure was the most tragic. Untrained soldiers jumped into icy water wearing life jackets incorrectly. Without crossing their arms, the jackets snapped their heads back on impact. Necks were broken instantly. The sea filled with bodies killed not by the enemy, not by the ocean, but by the very equipment meant to save them. The 66th Black Panther Division lost its reinforcements. Over 2,000 men from the 262nd and 264th Regiments were meant for the Battle of the Bulge. Instead, the division was shattered before it ever fired a shot. Survivors were diverted to secondary duties. A combat-ready force was neutralized by bureaucratic failure. Then came silence. Allied command ordered a complete news blackout. Survivors were sworn to secrecy. Mail was censored. Families received only vague missing-in-action telegrams. American records were not opened until 1959. British records until 1996. For decades, the world was not allowed to hear this story. The truth could not stay buried forever. The wreck was discovered in 1984. Historians and families restored names to numbers, memory to silence. Today, memorials stand in the United States, in Britain, and in Normandy. The Leopoldville reminds us that the first casualty of war is often truth, and that remembrance is not comfort, it is responsibility.
Check out more stories from history at davedoeshistory.org.